Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess. It's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. The battle ignites as Roeland Pruijssers thrusts his pawn to a4, the classic declaration of war in chess, opening the gates of the center with fearless intent. Wesley So counters with c5, the Sicilian. A sharp reply, signaling that this will not be a quiet game, but a storm of tactics and ambition. Roeland brings out his knight to f3, the loyal bodyguard to the king, watching over f5 and eyeing the heart of battle. Wesley develops his own knight to checks. Pressure mounting on d4. Both players circling like duelists searching for weakness. The Dutchman strikes d4, cracking open the center, demanding clarity and showing he's not afraid of the open fight. Wesley captures on d4. A clean and calm exchange. His pawn says, "Thank you." And the field becomes tense. Roeland's knight retakes on d4, development with aggression, owning the center with pride and posture. Wesley's queen slides out to 7. An early move of royalty, hinting at deep preparation and venomous traps ahead. Roeland calmly develops his knight to c3, reinforcing control, showing patience in the eye of the storm. Wesley locks the gate with e6, a solid defensive wall forming. But you can feel the counterpunch coming. Roeland's bishop steps to e3, a graceful dancer entering the battlefield, aiming at that sensitive queenside. Wesley replies with s6, a small move with deep meaning, preparing b5 and telling the world, my counterplay begins. And now, king. Roeland continues with qd2, planning to castle long and launch the infamous kingside storm. Wesley develops nf6, a classic Sicilian rhythm, knights before bishops, threats before rest. And there it is. Roeland castles long, the king runs to safety behind the queenside wall, ready for battle on opposite wings. Wesley mirrors with bb4, pinning the knight, pressure rising like thunder before the strike. Roeland pushes f3, the pawn acting like a loyal bodyguard, securing e4 and preparing to storm the kingside. Wesley's knight jumps to e5. An intruder in the white camp, winnow, testing the central resolve of Roeland's army. Roeland's knight slides to b3, retreating. Yes, but repositioning for vengeance on c5 or a5. Wesley advances b5. The Sicilian spear is thrown, claws tearing into the queenside. Roeland responds with qd4, his queen marching boldly into the fray, hunting lines and dreams of control. Wesley calmly shifts his bishop to e7, quiet preparation, like drawing a blade before the next slash. Roeland's queen goes to b6, infiltrating enemy territory, pointing her sword straight at dates. Wesley trades queens, qxb's, x. No mercy. Just pure calculation. And simplifying before the storm. Roeland's bishop recaptures on b6. His long diagonal reign, now fully awakened. Slicing toward the kingside. Wesley steadies the line with z6, setting up the pawn chain like a wall of shields. Roeland pushes a3. A move of patience, guarding b4, and preparing his own push later. Wesley castles kingside. The Filipino Grandmaster tucks his king away. The calm before the coming fire. Roeland activates his knight to a5, a dagger to the queenside heart. Massing. Chisen d7, a7 no remeron, hulu, just b7. Wesley develops his bishop to d7, protection and purpose combined. A soldier standing firm. Hein Wollwigen Kickshowstien, an Endstead. Roeland drives forward, the battle cry. His pawns surge forward, aiming to tear the center apart. Wesley calmly answers with Enshi kicks, countering tension with precision. Every piece now ready for chaos. Roeland's bishop moves to e2. A quiet preparation. Eyes glinting with the promise of future tactics. Wesley brings his rook to sate. The open file awaits. Like a sniper's perch ready to fire. Roeland develops his bishop to f3. Connecting rooks and eyeing that sensitive b7 point. Wesley counters with rabbit, heavy artillery joining the fray. Doubling the guns on the queen side. Roeland exchanges on c6, knight takes chicks. Simplifying but opening the file for deadly play. Wesley recaptures with his bishop, bx sings, fluid and strong. His pieces, now harmonizing like a war symphony. Roeland's bishop lands on a5, slicing across the field like lightning. Testing black's coordination. Wesley strikes back with n7. The knight returns to defend. Solid as steel, Penwalksinen, Pastille Lobistadententures. Roeland keeps the tension with bb4. Sliding back. Tightening control over key squares. Wesley replies nc5, elegant and purposeful. Repositioning for pressure and defense. Roeland brings his rook to d2, lining up reinforcements. The long grind begins. Wesley's king steps to fight, sneaking into safety and avoiding back-rank nightmares. Roeland responds with rfe1, doubling intentions on the f-file. Pressure building like steam in a boiler. Wesley's knight leaps to b7, guarding weak spots. Eyeing central dominance. Hit. Roeland pushes f5. Explosion in the center. He's trying to break through and ignite the flames of chaos. Wesley answers dix f5, precise and cold-blooded. dismantling White's ambitions before they bloom. Electrifying and imminent, undurient. Roeland continues with FC5. Desperate for space. Menodian, Pendeich. Refusing to give up his dream of a kingside attack. Wesley trades bishops with bxf3. The board screams as the position opens. Roeland's rook captures back. Rxf3. His heavy artillery roars in the middle of the storm. Wesley responds with bxbsp4. Clean execution. Removing a key defender. Roeland's pawn recaptures. xb4. His structure shattered but still standing proud. Wesley brings rc4. Infiltration. His rook snakes into enemy territory like a silent assassin. Roeland counters with rd7, lining up for counterplay. Not afraid of the darkness ahead. Wesley returns with nd8. The knight repositions like a predator, waiting for the perfect strike. Roeland pushes rg6. Aggression continues. Hunting activity with every breath. Wesley plays rxb4. Bang! The queen side explodes. Black's rook tearing through White's last defenses. Roeland pushes rfd3. Twin rooks charging. Refusing to die quietly. Wesley moves his king to 8, calmly sidestepping danger. The mark of a champion under fire. Roeland strikes back with rxas6, grabbing material and opening counter chances. Wesley responds with rg4, shifting gears, turning defense into attack in one smooth motion. Roeland continues with rd6, pushing the rooks forward. Desperate for coordination. Wesley unleashes rxg2. The first blood on the king side. A pawn falls, and chaos erupts. Roeland's knight hops to b5, claws out, threatening forks and fury. Wesley's rook goes to sate, calm under pressure, ready to counter the knight's menace. Roeland's rook slides to gone, defensive measures mixed with counterplay ideas. Wesley plays Argone. The rook strikes with a check. Momentum swinging in his favor. Roeland's rook recaptures on gone, the immediate response. But his position starts to crack. Wesley's rook invades done, a dagger to the white heart. The endgame begins to take shape. Roeland's rook drops to done, forced. Simplifying under duress stall. Wesley's rook retakes on done, domination achieved. Control, absolute. Roeland pushes Arden, regrouping. But the tone is desperate now. Wesley's king slides to ease him, centralizing for the coming endgame storm. Roeland's knight jumps to d6, seeking counterplay, searching for hope amid ruins. Wesley brings rc7, calm, reinforcing control. The rook's eye gleaming with purpose. Roeland's pawn pushes b3, shoring up his fragile structure. Clinging to survival. Wesley advances 5, like thunder. Breaking open, new lines of destruction. Roland's knight shifts to c4, dancing between files, trying to cover weaknesses. Wesley's rook slides to c5, perfect coordination, cutting white's board in half. Roeland activates his rook to gone, hunting checks, fighting back. Wesley plays g6, a fortress move, but also a hint of a pawn storm brewing. Roland's pawn moves to h4, signaling war on the king side. Still, swinging despite the odds. Wesley's knight lands on f7, solid defense, blocking every path forward. Roeland brings his rook to a1, trying to shift play to the center. Searching for tactics. Wesley answers h6, solidifying his pawns, building the final wall. Roland's king steps to d2, creeping into the fight, trying to help his army. Wesley pushes g5, the board shakes, the Filipino beast begins his march to glory. Roland's h-pawn captures hxe5, blood on the board once again. Wesley recaptures hxe5, the pawn storm rolls forward without mercy. Roland's king runs to c3, trying to reach activity. One last stand. Wesley advances g4, another pawn rush, unstoppable and cold as ice. Roland's rook slides to e2, clinging to defense, but his army trembles. Wesley unleashes g3, the final strike of the match. That black pawn surges forward like a flaming meteor, ripping through white's final defenses. Roland's army stands paralyzed. There's no stopping the storm now. The board trembles as his hopes collapse in silence. With that single move, Wesley So seals the victory, 0-1-1. A ruthless masterpiece, carved in pure precision and power.